Whew. All right, we are live. Welcome to the show, whoever's here. I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together we make up the two Irish brothers. So now that the intro is out of the way, let's just wait and see if we get any numbers in that little eyeball column.
Yep, sounds like a pretty good idea for me.
Yeah, because I mean, why go with all the stuff that you have planned to talk about when nobody's here? And plus, you do start talking about it, then people do get here, and you got to explain it all over again. Who knows? Maybe people thought we were going away. Oh. You know what? I did forget to put this on Twitter and stuff.
Let's see if anybody is on YouTube side of things.
Yeah, this is an exciting stream so far, isn't it?
What's up?
I said this is an exciting stream, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. Nobody's here yet.
All right, we got two. Uh-oh. Time to get rid of this guy.
Who is it? You don't even. Oh, who is that? Do you know him?
Nope.
Now, let's see what goes on.
Of course, I'm sure I'm sure I know who's behind it.
Depends on what the connotation of his name means, because it could go a couple ways, and one of the ways I would not be bragging about that.
Unless he, people do raise chickens, and usually with a flock of chickens, there's a rooster.
Yeah.
And what's a rooster's nickname?
The Gamecock.
Yeah. Could be a South Carolina fan.
Yeah, he could be a South Carolina fan. So do you like South Carolina, Doctor? Doctor? Where's your sonic screwdriver? No,
that's right. I'm not Irish. I'm Irish American.
Yep. 2 Irish Americans. Blend of cultures.
Yes.
Melting pot of cultures in the United States.
Well, granted, no. I mean, we're not immigrants, but we are both of Irish blood.
Yes.
My hairline's right here.
Flown south for the winter.
Ooh.
I was hoping to see RTR in here, but I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I know.
He's Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. He's the first one in, first one here, last one to leave.
Yeah.
But when it's it is let's see, today itself is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there's people are probably taking the misses out, and
yeah, and I think you took yours out already, didn't you?
Nah, we're going out tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, this guy's trying to hurt us.
Can you see why you have a huge audience? Well, I mean, we got to give it to the fans, if you will. But yeah, so the JJ Watt situation is interesting, and the suitors that we have for him potentially are pretty interesting too. So I don't know what to think with that,
Well, I'll say this.
Let's go and start with just Houston in and of itself, and not just JJ Watt in general. So, I mean, Houston, clearly there is something in the water in Houston. I mean, clearly. So, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins gets traded last year to the Arizona Cardinals, which was just like out of left field. Nobody saw that coming. Why would you get rid of a big superstar like Hopkins? And then, we've had the saga that is Desean Watson, who wants out. I mean,
it's only a matter of when with Desean Watson and when he goes.
And when Desean Watson was starting to kind of have rumblings of wanting to leave, we saw somebody else pop into the fray that has been a very, very quiet, even when he played, was a very, very quiet player in Andre Johnson. And Andre Johnson came out and said that, get out of Houston, basically, in few words. It's not worth it. All that. So, I mean, when somebody that is a very soft-spoken individual who was just a guy that went to work with his lunch pail and did what he had to do in Andre Johnson, and they're saying that you need to get out, something with management ain't right in Houston.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. It's usually ownership and the front office and just the constant screwing up. I mean, myself being a Chicago fan, I've seen a lot of it. And the funny thing is, at least with the Chicago Bears organization, I can understand it and why they really don't try to change that dysfunction, because the Chicago Bears franchise, of all of the sports franchises in the world of every sport, they're like number 14 of the most profitable. So Yeah, I mean, why would you care if you do something right or not? People are still gonna go buy the stuff. They're gonna buy tickets. They're gonna go to games.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those where, well, I mean, Chicago, if you want to change gears just a little bit, I mean, Chicago right now, the management for all the pro teams right now is just abysmal. I mean,
yeah.
the White Sox, the Cubs, the Bears, the Blackhawks, the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls, if you want to go one step over with the Bulls, what really does hurt them is the NBA draft lottery. I mean, the fact that they have the draft lottery every year instead of the way that the NFL does it, where the worst team gets the first pick and on and on and on. That's what's hurt the Bulls, in my opinion, the most. They continuously are not in the top 10 for draft picks because of the draft lottery when they should be, and they can't get guys to give them any sort of chance at all to do an actual rebuild.
Do you think that's that the NBA draft lottery is rigged?
I don't think it's rigged, but I mean it's definitely rigged against teams.
Because
I would say
I
it's
was
like they pick who's going to get the number one pick. I don't think that, but I think that kind of like the NHL, it's just the teams that should be getting helped aren't getting enough help.
well, it's just I was watching a video last week sometime, and they were talking about the NBA lottery. And when you look back at certain things, certain events, it's kind of easy to think that it would be rigged because there was what year was it when Kevin Garnett was the number one overall?
Oh gosh, that was when we were kids.
94, 95. Well,
Yeah.
ironically, Minnesota gets the first pick. And I think Garnett's from Minnesota, isn't he? I could be wrong on that. But anyway, Minnesota got the first pick. Then even before that, when Shaq was the number one pick, ironically Orlando gets it. So
Yeah.
there's that. And then when LeBron got drafted out of high school, automatically Cleveland gets the number one pick. Now, of course, LeBron, he's from Akron.
Right.
So it's at the very least there's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, could it be? Yeah. I mean, who knows? We're not, privy to that kind of information, unfortunately. But yeah.
And besides, I haven't watched the NBA in a long ass time, so it really doesn't make much difference to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the last about decade's been dominated by super teams, and I think last year was really the first year where there wasn't two super teams in the finals. There was one in the Lakers, but then the Heat got there and they weren't really expected to get there. So I think the culture is changing a little bit because the Nets tried to build a super team this year. And I mean, they lost their first like 3 or 4 games after building that super team, So I mean, the culture is shifting a little bit, which is good. I mean, that's good for basketball. I don't like the super teams, I call it the Yankee model,
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, you like you said with the draft lottery potentially being rigged. I mean, Edmonton in the NHL spectrum of it, they had 3 number one picks in a row. I mean, how does that happen? So I mean, I can see people questioning.
Well, another example too.
Is it really, whatever? So.
Well, another example too, going back to the NBA lottery, when Derrick Rose got drafted after spending 1 year at Memphis, the Bulls all of a sudden get the number one pick, and this is a Chicago kid. He grew up there, played at Chicago Simeon, which is one of the biggest basketball powerhouses in the nation. So you're gonna tell me there was no politicking going on with that? Of course there was, but I don't know. But going back with to JJ Watt, I was gonna say before before you started talking about that is I'm glad to hear that it was at least, mutual, a mutual decision to part and not just one side being angry with the other. Because I mean, and I think that's how it should be, because this is a guy who was the face of that franchise for the last decade.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he gave his all for not only the city of Houston but the Houston Texans. So yeah. And I mean, he was a humble stand-up guy. I mean, you want to talk about class, you can look it up in the dictionary, and his name is right next to that definition. So, and for me, I feel happy for him. He's somebody that was loyal and tried everything he could to get Houston in there. And he had, I think, one, maybe two shots in the playoffs, and that was really it. So hopefully a bigger name team picks him up, and he can have a legit shot at going for a Super Bowl title.
Yeah, and he deserves it. I mean, and I think J.J. Watt, with as much as he keeps himself in shape, I think he's got a few years left in him. I mean, 10 years in the NFL is a long ass time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially for his position. I mean, he blew his ACL out. A lot of people don't remember that. Yeah, he's been through it. And I'm not a Steelers guy. I'm really not. But I would love to see him with the Steelers just because of his brothers. It would be really cool to see all the brothers together.
That would be.
We've seen it in other sports. And I think that would be cool. But yeah, I mean, and the teams that are wanting him, there's some big name teams looking at him. I mean, we got the Titans looking at him, the Steelers looking at him. Tyler Buckner, future Heisman winner. Hello. We can only hope. But yeah, so we'll see. And if he could get with a playoff team, that'd be great. I mean, I was very happy for Ndamukong Suh winning a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. So I was happy for him. Not really the Buccaneers in general, but guys that have did their time and have busted their ass to get where they are. So,
well, last I heard, I guess it depends which source you read, but I saw that, like you said, you'd mentioned Pittsburgh, but I saw surprisingly that Green Bay was the odds-on favorites to land J.J. Watt.
Now that would be interesting because he's from Wisconsin, and he grew up a Packers fan.
Well, he went to the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah, after he transferred out of CMU, Central Michigan. So actually, he quit. He quit playing football after Central Michigan, and he was actually. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, Sean, about how he went to the University of Wisconsin.
No, actually.
So J.J. Watt went home after being with CMU for 2 seasons. Maybe it was 3. I don't know. But anyway, he went home in his little town in Wisconsin, and he was working at a pizza joint. And they asked him to deliver pizzas, so he was delivering pizzas. He delivered a pizza to somebody, and the person was like, "Holy crap, you're J.J. Watt. Like, why are you delivering pizzas? You need to be playing football. Like, you're too good not to be playing football." And J.J. Watt said he went home that night after his shift and applied to the University of Wisconsin. So
J.J. Watt and I actually have something in common. The only difference is he needed to jump on at his football opportunity. Me, I played football, but I had no opportunity. I was terrible. But that's all. But still, that's awesome to say you have something in common with J.J. Watt.
Yeah. So, are the Texans the new Browns? I mean, I mean, currently, sure, yeah. I give it to you. If Desean Watson leaves Houston, and they don't have Watson, they don't have Hopkins, and they don't have J.J. Watt, they have nothing. And then it is a legit new team and rebuild. And Houston really messed up, and I love it, because they traded with the Dolphins last year, and the Dolphins have their first-round pick. So that is awesome. The Dolphins are in the top 5 for draft picks this year because of Houston. So Houston can't even go after a guy in the first round in the beginning of it to help alleviate some of the pressure that they have. So, yeah, I would say that they are currently the Browns, the new Browns on the block.
Yeah, or at least the way the Browns used to be, anyway. Because the actual Browns are doing pretty good. Quite a turnaround. Sam Darnold. Well, let's see. Sam Darnold to Chicago. My thoughts. Don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm not going to be surprised if it happens because our front office has not been very good with quarterbacks.
Yeah, who was your guy's last good quarterback? I got to think about this one.
If you want to go technical with stats, then you got to say Cutler.
Yeah.
Only because he was there for several years. But before that,
I'm trying to think.
I mean, before that, I mean, the 90s was just
Kyle Orton? No,
Kyle Orton was pretty much a backup. But prior to Cutler actually, put, I know it's not saying much, but to actually putting up some all right numbers, the whole 90s with Bears quarterbacks was just a mess. I mean, yeah, you had Jim Harbaugh there for a few years. You had Eric Kramer, who had one good season, and that was it. Then there was good old Cade McNown. But there's a reason we've had like 30 different quarterbacks over the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah, well,
because we really haven't had a solid quarterback probably since Jim McMahon.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say much. I mean, the Dolphins, since Marino, there hasn't been a good quarterback. So, Tannehill was pretty good, but they didn't have the pieces around him to give him enough, stuff. So, but yeah, it's been a revolving door for the Dolphins. So,
Ben, do you watch any soccer? This guy with the suspicious name is asking about I guess it's soccer, but I don't know shit about soccer.
I mean, I think that there's a couple guys up there with Messi. So I wouldn't say Messi's the GOAT. I would say Ronaldo is right there. And yeah, it's very, very early to say Tua is anything. Saying that he didn't play a full season. There was no actual off season. And there was no preseason. So I'm not going to say Tua's overrated or trash or anything like that. And he was coming off of an injury. So we'll see with all that. But
how can you say that about a guy after one season? It's ridiculous.
You'd be raised with Dolphin fans. I mean, like I said, I think in a previous stream, it's one of those where until you start winning, okay, let me ask you this, Doctor. Who's your actual team? Let's see.
Hang on one sec.
Because you're talking to a Liverpool fan right here. So let's see, I could probably go out on a limb and say you probably will root for Manchester United, and that stupid Glory, Glory, Man United song. Or probably Manchester City or Leicester. So, yeah, let's see who your team is. But you are talking about Messi, so you could be FC Barcelona.
This is pretty funny, Ben. These are two of the most suspicious accounts I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, you want to talk football or soccer? then I'll talk it with you.
Pronunciation of teams. The soccer teams. Oh, this. I'm sorry. This. I don't know what to make of this comment section.
Well, I'm just curious. Like, who's your team? I'm just curious. Like, I mean, you're saying, we're talking about soccer and stuff. It's always interesting to see what teams are who or who roots for what teams, because that pretty much tells you exactly what kind of attitude they're going to have. I'd say, Manchester United, Manchester City has gotten good in the last like 10, 15 years. So it's Arsenal. I was about to get to that. Probably an Arsenal fan. So a Gooner. You're a Gooner for life, huh? So yeah, I kind of figured with the attitude you were one of those teams. And then you'll probably bring up the fact that you've never been relegated, blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all. But yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to Klopp with not Manchester, good grief, Liverpool, and his mom passing away. I think it was 2 days ago. So, that's really yeah, I would say, you can ask Sean. Oh, have they actually been relegated? Okay, finally, huh? Y'all finally were relegated. Because for a long time, y'all bragged about how you'd never been relegated.
What you were asking me about? What?
So no, you can ask. Like especially here in the States and stuff. Like who we think are like real bad fan bases and attitude wise and all that. Well,
oh, gotcha.
There's a couple teams and cities that come up right away in your mind. Philadelphia is one of them. Pretty much every Philadelphia fan base, whether it's the Flyers, the Eagles, the Sixers, whoever, they got pretty unruly fans. Seattle. So, I mean,
yeah, I'd say half of
on. Then if you want to go college football, Michigan fans are pretty bad. Michigan State's got some pretty awful fans. So
half of our fan base, not for what they do to people, but just how they turn their back on their own team. I've said that a million times on here before.
Okay, being Irish has nothing to do with talking about the Barclays Premier League, just to let you know. Okay, that's England and not Ireland. Ireland would be the Atrocity League. So there you go. Or the Empower. So yeah, not fooling anybody there. But yeah, I mean, and then there's Texas fans are pretty rough, I would say. They're pretty arrogant for having a program that hasn't done much of anything. So, and then same with Georgia fans. Georgia fans are pretty arrogant too, in my opinion. Haven't done anything since what was that, like 85? So I mean, it's been a long time since they
Uh-oh, look who showed up. Another very suspicious account.
Where's my Notre Dame diploma? Not around here, that's for sure. Not around here. But yeah, fan bases, there are some that are really humble for how good they are. I can tell you, like Nebraska has a very humble fan base. Oklahoma has a very humble fan base. University of Tennessee has a very humble fan base. So Alabama, I can't really get a beat on. I've seen some really good ones and I've seen some really bad ones. and since they're really, really, really good right now, it's hard to tell. So I don't know.
Well, the reason for that is that it helps to be in the know. And we have a lot of good friends that keep us informed. So, like when stuff's going to happen or shit might hit the fan. So, it's usually easy. It's usually easy to spot anyway. But anyway, Ben, I'm surprised that in the 30 minutes that we've been on, and it's actually, the picture is on the front of the live stream. We haven't talked about the Super Bowl yet.
No, we haven't.
So yeah, we took the Super Bowl off, and right off the bat, I gotta say this: Tom Brady, whether you love him or hate him, GOAT.
Oh,
he's the GOAT.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean,
at his age especially, he's still getting it done.
1 second. Let me turn on another light. But yes, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Give myself a little more lighting in here. Yeah, no, he is definitely the GOAT of this time. People are always like, is he better than Montana, or is Montana better than him? Okay, those were eras. So Joe Montana for his era was the GOAT of that time, that era. And then for us, it's Brady. I mean, everybody wanted to know, is it Brady or is it Belichick? And we got our answer. It's Brady.
Oh, come on, doctor. That's not all inclusive and tolerant. That's not a cool thing to say. Where's that European tolerance that I hear so much about? But of course, I don't think this guy's actually European. So
I just find it. Funny
but anyway,
I find it funny that you're an Arsenal fan, but you're all over Messi. I mean, and it's okay to respect game. I mean, I don't disagree. Messi is one of the greatest of all time. Would I say he is the GOAT? No, I would not say Messi's the GOAT. But back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, Brady, clearly, still has it. And, he has got to be probably one of the oldest people to win a championship in the NFL. Not only the NFL, but sports world. So, I mean, it is totally incredible what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, his level of play is still where it once was. So,
man, doctor's getting pretty testy here.
Yeah, no kidding.
I tell him that, man, I tell him that, where's that European tolerance? And he says, I'm Irish. And then he says, well, Ireland is in Europe. So even as a troll, this guy's a dumbass. I never said Ireland was not in Europe. I said, I don't think you're actually European. I don't think you're actually from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Where did I say that Ireland wasn't in Europe?
Hold on a second, Sean.
I've been there twice.
You're going to say that Messi is the GOAT because of that? Okay, well, who did he play for all of those? He played for one of the best teams you can play for. I mean, if you put him on a bunch of other teams at the time, he would not have been winning those. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, he had more than enough talent around him to make him better. So, yeah.
I just said, doctor, I truly don't believe you are. I think you're just a guy here who's trying to troll us. And to the Tyler Buckner dude, why is it hard to defend America? In what way? I don't even know what these guys are talking about. These guys are both all over the place.
Yep.
Well, Doc, yeah, I will agree with the Tyler Buckner guy on this. If you want to come on here and talk with us, you're more than welcome to. We'll give you the link to the stream.
Yep.
So if you want it, just ask. Well, when I say I don't think you're from Europe, I include all the countries that are in Europe. So yes, Ireland would be one of them. Oh boy.
So let me ask you this.
Shoot.
Do you think that Brady continues to play next season?
Well, the guy says he wants to play till he's 45, and as good as he played this past season and in the Super Bowl, I think he's telling the truth. I think he will play till he's 45 because he's 42, 43 right now.
Now you got to show your face if you want to be on. You can't just be audio. Sorry, dude.
Yep.
There's no audio with us. You go big or you go home. Well, I mean, yeah, he said he's coming back, but I mean that's the season. The season's far from started yet. I mean, you can say that you're coming back, but I mean, look what Andrew Luck did. Andrew Luck started playing, and then all of a sudden, he ain't playing. So anyway, well, I'm gonna pull the trigger, Sean. How about you give Dr. Big Cock the boot?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Let me just do this real quick. All right, Doc. There is the link to the StreamYard. And like we said, we're only letting you on if you show your face. Yeah, he runs away as soon as we put the link to the stream up. He runs away.
Yep.
He has no balls. No balls. None.
But yeah, so I mean, we'll see with Brady. My big thing is I don't want to see him get severely injured. I mean, we've seen him have one injury already. It was a very, very bad injury, with his knee and all that. And I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, football's a violent game, and but so I mean, that's the risk you take once you get over 40, in my opinion, your body can only take so much. So,
but I'll say this with the Super Bowl though, that game, I really thought it'd be a lot closer than what it actually was. I did not expect it to be, which it was close for a while, but I didn't expect the final score to be so lopsided like that.
Yeah, but see, what's interesting with Tampa, and somebody brought this up, so I can't take full credit for it, but they said, Tampa Bay sure doesn't get there a lot, but boy, when they get there, they dominate. Because, I mean, if you remember the last Super Bowl they played in with Gruden, they just absolutely tore up the Oakland Raiders. So, their 2 Super Bowl victories, they have been convincing, and they have been legit proven that they are the best team in the NFL. So, I will give them that. But
okay, so
I love when people do that. I love, like, you could have been inconspicuous and just hopped in and nobody would have known exactly what was going on. But you totally just revealed that you have 3 accounts. Like,
Yeah.
that's
And
great.
see, well, you see, I knew that that's what this guy was doing because I did it myself. When I see, I think it was a year, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I pulled a little prank on our good buddy Big Ball Daddy,
Uh-oh.
and you can have when you use the incognito mode, um, you can have like 4 accounts going at once,
Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
and we got a guy that's showing up calling himself Irish Boy, and we said the rules: we're not bringing you on unless you show your face.
Yep.
See, because we can see you before we bring you on, so it's not like you join the stream and just
Irish football fan is me. I was just testing you guys. It's past midnight here.
And Irish Boy that's trying to get on just sent us a private message saying "Sup boys, it's past midnight here."
Hey, we appreciate you being here. If you're gonna, if you really are from Ireland and stuff, that's impressive. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And I would assume that you got to work tomorrow, so that's even more impressive. So,
but
Sean, do you work tomorrow?
Yeah, I do.
Do you work tomorrow? Okay. We don't in this household tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. President's Day.
Yep, federal holiday. Yeah. So, where was I going with?
Like I said, Irish Boy, you show your face, we'll let you on the stream.
Yep, that's the rules. Yeah, the Buccaneers. And here's something else that people don't think about. Okay, Tampa Bay has had 3 teams this past year play for championships. Think about that for a second. You got the Rays, you got the Lightning, who won the championship.
Yep.
And you got the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers won it. So 2 out of your 3 teams in your town.
Well, let's just face it, they're currently, the true title town right now as it stands.
Yeah.
Okay, so Irish Boy here, he's sending us a lot of private messages. Sup, boys? It's past midnight here. I'm Irish. You wanted to talk, and I'm here to talk. You want to talk or not? Do you not understand it's pitch black here? Well, you got lamps in your house, right? Turn on the light. You said you don't think I'm European, even though I'm Irish, and you call me done. Laughing my ass off, this guy. Even show your face.
Marcus,
show your face.
Happiness can light the way. So, yeah. We do things by a specific rule, Buckner, but I'm in bed.
Yeah. Hey, Irish Boy, you can tell us on the comment section. We're just going to read your private ones to everybody anyway.
But yeah, so
this guy keeps screwing up with our train of thought here.
I know, no kidding. I'm like trying to figure all this out. So how long did the Bears have Foles for? Was it 2 seasons?
I want to say 2 seasons, yeah.
So then you guys would be in the last season of his contract. So
no, 2 years starting now.
Oh, starting now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 2 more seasons. So you guys could draft a quarterback and have Foles basically teach him. Because let's face it. Whether, if you want to go by like just experience factor, Foles has been through it all. He's been a backup. He's played in the Super Bowl. He's been through the fire. He knows what you need to do to win. He knows, all that. Now, is he the most greatest quarterback of all time? No. Is he top 10? No. But he is definitely somebody who there's a reason he's been in the league for as long as he has.
Yeah.
So, I mean, usher in the new generation. Keep him, you got him under contract. Rebuild. I mean, get another quarterback, draft him. There's a bunch of good quarterbacks coming into this draft. Go from there.
I'll tell you one thing. Have you ever seen these mock drafts? And I guess it depends which site you read, but I've seen a lot of the ones I've seen have come from like Sports Mockery and whatnot, which I don't know if that's really a reputable website, but some of the projected trades they have for certain teams to move up to like the top 10 to get like a quarterback or any other position of really urgent need. Oh, the trades are just absolutely absurd. There was one trade where they had Chicago trading their first round pick, Khalil Mack, and I think who was it? I think it might have been Eddie Jackson to go up and get I think Justin Fields.
Yeah.
In the number 4 spot or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was absolutely stupid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's funny that you say that with Sports Mockery because Pro Football Focus, dude, their mock drafts this season have been awful. Like, normally I put a little bit of stock into what they got to say, but like the ones just for the Dolphins and stuff this year have just been absolutely absurd. Like they said the Dolphins would trade Tua for Watson, and then they would trade like 3 or 4 more guys for Watson. And I'm like, they would take on one of the biggest contracts in the NFL with Watson. They would have him for 1 season, and they would get rid of the guy that they just drafted in the first round. I mean, what? Like, you've got to be kidding me here. So
yeah, there's very few of these sports websites that I take serious when it comes to that stuff. I mean, very little have I read that they said actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just it's
and you know what though? I mean, teams pull fast ones on people too. I mean, everybody's suspected. Like, this player is going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, or this player is going to go to the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders now. And then all of a sudden, the guy that you thought they were getting, they don't draft, and then draft somebody else. So I mean, there's no way. I don't know.
Well, it seems like the only for sure thing that will actually happen in this draft is Trevor Lawrence going number 1 to Jacksonville.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jacksonville. It really will be, because, I mean, I could see, Jacksonville going after somebody else.
Interesting. Who do you think that could be? Like another position or another quarterback?
I think they would go after another position, in all honesty.
Well, they do need a lot.
I mean, you have your quarterback in Gardner Minshew. I mean, and then instead of going after a quarterback like Lawrence, you could go after a Najee Harris. You could go after Devonta Smith. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, their line was shaky this year, so it's like, people can say, "Oh, well, look what Gardner Minshew did in Jacksonville." Okay, yeah, but I mean, put Brady behind that line and see how good he is. Put, Michael Vick behind that line and see what he does. I mean, like, you got to have a line. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, hey, Doc, show it like we said. Show your face. We'll bring you on. There you go.
But
there you go. The only way you get to come on here is if you show your face. Then we'll let you on. But yeah, I mean, the draft. I mean, even though the movie Draft Day was just beyond ridiculous and as fiction gets, The only thing that was right in that movie was when who was it? Was it Puff Daddy who was playing that one dude's agent?
I have no idea. I'd never seen the movie.
Okay, or P Diddy or whatever the hell he goes by now. I think that was him playing the star quarterback Bo Callahan. That was the guy's name. The star quarterback in that movie out of Wisconsin, Bo Callahan. And I'm pretty sure it was Puff Daddy who was playing his agent. But he said when that guy didn't get picked number 1 overall, sorry Ben, I ruined the movie for you. He said, "Hey, these things happen." And he's right. There's been so many surprises in the NFL draft, it's not even crazy. Or it's not even funny. It's crazy. That's what I meant to say. It's not even funny. It's crazy how it works sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I mean, the media speculates, but the media doesn't actually talk to the players like these teams do. I mean, these teams, okay, I can tell you from firsthand experience, these teams know more about these players than you will ever know. You will ever know. I mean, I had family play in the league, and these teams know every little detail about these players. They get calls from multiple teams before draft day, agents and all that. I mean, a guy like Trevor Lawrence has probably had a call from all 32 NFL teams. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I can pretty much tell you that he probably did have 32 different phone calls. I mean,
of course.
So the media can say, "Oh, well, we expect Trevor Lawrence to go number 1, or we expect, this." NFL teams and owners and GMs, they have a different idea of all that.
So, now, was it your cousin who played in the NFL?
Yes.
Now I'm just curious. Did your cousin ever tell you about the draft process and because I know there's a time where they interview you and they sit down with you and they ask you, and we've seen this in the media, they ask you all sorts of weird questions.
Yeah, they basically put the guys. Okay, so the guys, potential NFL players, are put through a number of tests. Okay, so one of them is a psychological test. So they ask them a whole bunch of just crazy questions, and then they ask them the same question twice, but in a different way to see if they answer correct. The same thing twice, all that, and then they put them through an IQ test. They want to see, what's your IQ like? How do you do on the fly and stuff? And I mean, normally linemen score the highest on the IQ test, which makes sense. I mean, they need to know all the different blocking assignments and all that. And then quarterbacks are right behind linemen, So, yeah, these NFL teams, they do their homework. They really do. They put these players through a lot more than what you see on TV. These players, they are asked just the most crazy questions and all that. I mean, and long story short, like I said, these teams know way more about these players than you will ever know. So, and
because I know there's been times where, these, I don't know if it's the coaches themselves doing it or if they're sports psychologists, but they go a little too far with the questions. I think there was one dude who I forget who it was, got drafted by I don't know if he got drafted by the Falcons, but at the very least, he was interviewed by the Falcons, and the coach straight up asked him about his sexual orientation.
Yeah, I can't tell. I don't know that answer if that's a real a thing that they really do ask. I do know the Dolphins, unfortunately, I know about this one. The Dolphins had a guy that was interviewing at the time, Des Bryant. And he asked Des if his mom was a slut.
Whoa.
And
holy shit.
Okay. So the part of the story that you don't know, okay, Des talked about his dad being a pimp while he was growing up. And his mom, and he said that his mom worked for his dad. So the NFL took it, I would say, the wrong way.
All right, I'll post this one. This is good. Yes, he was. It depends what kind of sex you're talking about.
You know what's fun? What's sad though? He was actually pretty good at Mizzou. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like he was pretty good, and that was before we really knew his whole like actual story and all that.
Yeah, but
media,
here's the thing.
the
Here's the
media
thing.
overblew that situation, and the Rams messed that up. The Rams were kind of like forced into drafting him when they had no business drafting him. And it's not the way people think. They had one of the greatest defensive lines you could have in the NFL at the time. They had Chris Long, Barkevius Mingo, Michael Brockers, Robert Quinn. Like, where were you going to put him on that line? Like, how would he ever start? I mean, he had 4 or 5 guys in front of him. Like, when they drafted him, I'm like, when is he ever going to have an opportunity? Like,
well, here's a couple things with that guy, and I know people are going to think otherwise, but no, I'm only saying this because I'm an actual football fan and I care about how the game is played. But just stating the obvious, yeah, he put up some good numbers at Mizzou, but they were all during the games against the nobodies. When it came to the big time games, when the SEC schedule, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But also,
I didn't pay enough attention to all of it to, whatever. But
when I saw a lot of this too from an article that I read some time ago around when this was all going on. But also, and this is coming from in the same report, and this is coming from the NFL scouts, not me. All right, ND Sean 45 is not saying this. This is coming from the NFL scouts, but he was listed as what they call a tweener. And what that term means is that he wasn't big enough to play defensive end, and he was too fat or too small or too slow. Excuse me. He was not big enough to play defensive end, and he was too slow to play linebacker. That's what that term means. And also, what really hurt him too is that he didn't play special teams. Because think of it this way, Ben: how many guys in the NFL get a job? Right. Just from playing special teams?
I mean, we saw it with Chris Fink. We've seen it with Tranquil. We've seen it with, the list goes on. Yeah.
Devin Hester.
So, yeah. But to answer Buckner's question, who do you guys think is the second best QB in the draft? Boy, that's a good one.
Because behind him, you have obviously Justin Fields from Ohio State. You have Mac Jones from Alabama. What's that kid from North Dakota State? Trey Lance.
And then you have Ellinger out of Texas.
And then that kid from Brigham Young.
Yeah.
And there's I feel like there's someone obvious that we're missing.
I would probably say the guy from Brigham Young. Everybody would probably say Fields, but I kind of look at like, okay, who are you playing for? What do you have around you? Are you really that good? It's kind of like somebody brought up a really good point, interesting. Are you number one, Smitty? But anyway, so I always look at it that way, so because somebody brought up a good point, it'd be interesting to see like what Mahomes could really do if he was with a team like the Giants or the Jets. What would you really be able to do when you didn't have a lot around you? And I mean, we know what Mac Jones has around him. We know what Fields had around him. We know what Trevor Lawrence had around him. We know, so
one with Trey Lance, to add on to that point, Ben, he plays for North Dakota State, which is Division the FCS, Division One FCS,
right.
And normally people, I would say this is phenomenal, but he only threw I think only one pick this past season, and it was his first pick in quite a while. And you look at the numbers, they're phenomenal, but I hate saying this because there's a lot of talent that comes out of the FCS, but that's exactly it. It's FCS. It's not exactly the highest quality talent in college football.
Like with him and stuff coming out of North Dakota. Okay, North Dakota is a team that is always in the hunt for the championship. I mean, if you want to put a team in the same breath as Alabama, the level below us, it's North Dakota. I mean, they're always going for championships. Always.
Yeah, they dominate that level.
They eat, sleep, and breathe championships there. I mean, they are the Alabama of the FCS level. I mean, that's who they are. So is it really that he's that good, or is it what he has around him? And that's why I say like a guy from BYU, because, okay, he doesn't have the best receivers in the game. He doesn't have the best running back core. He doesn't have the best line. Like, so, and that's how the NFL goes, okay? Everybody is as good as you, if not better, in the NFL. The NFL is a different game than college. I mean, we've seen guys that are just absolute studs in college football go to the NFL and do nothing. And the guys that tend to become the really, really good players are guys that didn't come from big schools. They didn't come from the best situation. They came from situations where they had to really hone their craft to be good. I mean, We're looking at Randy Moss. We're looking at Terry Bradshaw. We're looking at the list goes on.
Oh, how about the greatest, probably the greatest defensive back of all time from Texas A&I, Darrell Green.
Yeah,
who played for the Redskins for like 21, 22 seasons or whatever it was. The guy, they called him the ageless wonder for a reason.
I mean, I'm not saying guys can't come from good programs and be successful. I mean, Russell Wilson came from a big program in Wisconsin, and he's been really good. I mean, Mahomes came from, an FBS Power 5 school, and he's done well. But you got to remember, Mahomes was the first actual Big 12 quarterback to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second. So, I mean, and you look at the very, very dominant players right now in the NFL, they didn't come from the greatest situations. They didn't. Now, there are some. There's a few. I'll give you. Julio Jones was phenomenal in his prime, and he came from Alabama. I'll give him that. Henry, he came from Alabama. I'll give him that. Okay. But a lot of these other guys, they're not from the most dominant program. They're not from, the number one team in the land.
They're not always SEC teams. They're not always Big Ten.
They're not even a lot of them are
take your pick.
5. I mean, so.
Well, the Buckner fan here makes up a good point. It's something that I got to be keeping an eye on. He says, I'll put his comment up here. Carson Wentz was from North Dakota State. He was good for Philly his first couple of years. He's been awful since. Well, I wouldn't say he's been awful ever since, but he hasn't looked consistently sharp.
Average to below average, A, and B, he's been banged up. I mean, and when you're injured, I don't care how quote-unquote good you are, you ain't playing.
Well, and also, I'll tell you one thing. That's something I got to be keeping a close eye on, because if it is true and the Bears are trying to trade for him, then I sure as hell hope he better gets back to, his pre-2018 days when he was really tearing it up.
Yeah, there's a big divide right now in Philadelphia with not just Wentz, but the whole situation that's going on in Philadelphia. And one of the big stories out of Philadelphia is Deuce Staley. Let's see how many of y'all remember him. Running back for the Eagles. He has been on the coaching staff for the Eagles for about 8 years now. And he has gone for the last, I want to say 3 head coaching positions and not gotten one. And the fan base is very divided on that right now in Philadelphia. So they feel like they're getting cheated. They feel like they should have promoted Staley. They feel like, this is one camp. They feel like they have gotten a coach that will toe the line with Wentz as opposed to going away from Wentz and what management really wants. That's what I've heard. So Philadelphia right now is kind of a mess like Houston.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with all that.
So speaking of quarterbacks, not trying to get off Carson Wentz here because it is an interesting topic with, oh my God, we actually have a regular that popped up. What's up, Craig? So far we have not had one of our regular viewers show up yet. A bunch of new people, and I hate to say this, that are suspect at best. I hate to say it, but
well, let me pause you for a second, Sean. Okay,
sure.
They fired Andy Reid, and now they fired Peterson after he won them a Super Bowl. I mean, Philadelphia, I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, back to you, Sean.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, how do you fire a coach that just won you a Super Bowl in recent history? I mean, I don't know. But speaking of, I was going to stick with quarterbacks real quick. Desean Watson, when it's all said and done, and this is going back to the start of the show when we were talking about the Texans, where do you think he ends up?
Daytona 500 party. I got the Daytona 500 recorded, so don't tell me. First off, I want to ask you who your driver is because I just started getting into NASCAR. But back to Watson. Okay, you are not going to like this answer, Sean. You are not.
All right. It's all right. I've had to face worse.
I think he ends up with Pittsburgh.
Interesting.
The reason I say that, okay, I have two reasons to back up this statement. First off, I think Juju Smith-Schuster is on the way out. That frees up cap space, so there's that. Claypool has kind of solidified himself as the number one in Pittsburgh. He's on the rise. Juju is on the decline. Anybody that knows stats and looks at stats can tell you that is a fact. And then the fact that who do they have in Pittsburgh? I mean, who quarterback-wise? Roethlisberger's old, one hit away from being done, and Rudolph is okay at best. So you bring in a guy like Watson, and you give him, and Watson has to have the room. It has to be his team. Okay, if Watson comes in, it is Watson and Claypool's team. Period.
Yeah, I don't know why you think I wouldn't like that. I mean, I thought you were going to say that he goes to Green Bay or something.
No.
Because Rodgers doesn't have a lot of time left either.
Jordan Love is the next quarterback in Green Bay.
That's what it looks like. But yeah, I mean, people kept saying that Deshaun Watson to the Bears, Deshaun Watson to the Bears. That was the top headline for a long time. As much as I would love to have him there, it's not going to happen. We would have to give away the farm to get him. And from what I'm hearing is that would at least be the next three first round picks. So no,
the amount that you would need to give up for him is not worth it.
No, exactly.
Unless you're in like a win now situation. And Pittsburgh's in the win now situation. I mean, they have a decent team there right now. They're not needing to like quote unquote rebuild or do a miniature rebuild. Yeah, and I talked about that earlier, Craig. No, and people need to give, Tua a little more time. And you got to remember, because there was the report that there's some players in the locker room with the Dolphins that don't think that he's good enough and all that. But here's what I bring up. Okay, Tyreek Hill did not like Mahomes. Tyreek Hill said that Mahomes isn't going to be an NFL quarterback and he will not, last. So, I mean, I would, time will tell. So
yeah, Tyreek Hill, you should be afraid of me too, bitch. Yes, that is an actual quote from Tyreek Hill. But we never actually straight up answered the Buckner fans' question here. Actually, I think you did. You said,
guy from Brigham Young.
Yeah, Zach Smith, and I never gave my answer. You're right. It would be easy to say Justin Fields, which I'm sure a lot of boards are going to have him as number 2. But from a fan perspective, from a fan perspective, I think you take a shot with Mac Jones or that Trey Lance from North Dakota State. That's my final answer for you.
I like it.
Because it's like what you were saying before. I mean, yeah, Mac Jones, if we've seen what he can do with the right pieces around him, and if that happens to be the same way in the NFL for him, then why couldn't he be good there too? You know?
Yeah.
So
know.
That's my answer on that one.
Well, Sean, I don't got much else. You got anything?
Not really. Well, I guess you did want to talk a little bit about the NCAA basketball tournament, didn't you?
Save it for next week when V-Day isn't going on.
Okay. Yeah. It says a lot about what day it is when Craig is your only regular that's showing up, and then as much as I've said enough times already, a bunch of suspicious characters. But I tell you that truth is, Ben, that doctor, I had seen him on another stream before, so I already I have a good idea of where it's coming from.
That's okay. I had some fun with it.
Yeah. I don't believe for a second that those guys are actually from Europe. I think they're just a couple of trolls trying to screw with us. And I like to think that this Tyler Buckner, future Heisman winner, is the real deal. But we've been had with that stuff before too.
Yep.
So it is what it is with the world of YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Because if he's still on here, hey Tyler, you said earlier that you're the real deal. I hope you're telling the truth, but you seem to be kind of in cahoots with those guys, so it's kind of hard to tell. And I will finish saying this because I started to explain it earlier, but a couple years ago I pranked Big Vol Daddy on a stream that he was doing, and I came in with 4 funny names. And I didn't say anything nasty to him. I just said like a bunch of stupid shit, like from Impractical Jokers, like, "Hey, I want to buy your door locks and your shower heads." Just obnoxious, stupid stuff like that. It's not like I obviously didn't go after his, attack his family or anything like that. But yeah, that's the truth. Is you can, with incognito mode, specifically on Google Chrome, you can go to one stream with up as many as 4 accounts. So I had 4 accounts that I was pranking him and Carter with. One was an account named Barney McDougal. One was Yanni Van Halen, which is another one from the name game off of Impractical Jokers. Then one was Blueberry Harry, and then the other one was Cooley Whistles, which was also Impractical Jokers. But the thing is, though, I told him afterwards that it was me, I was just playing a prank on you. I wasn't trying to be mean to you or
DVD back tonight, Sean.
No, he would have done it back. He would have gotten us back a lot sooner.
You never know.
It'd be awesome. I mean, if this was him, that I'd have to say that was the greatest
troll
prank ever.
Yeah,
but no, I can tell it wasn't him because he wouldn't throw attacks at us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's too good. He's too good and too nice of a guy to do that. So, but no, after that, I really don't have anything else to add.
Yeah.
And and speaking of which, since somebody fired the shot earlier, I do have to address it. So yes, it is a fact. I am a single guy. I've never hid that. I've never made that a secret. But I actually might have a date in a couple weeks. Believe it or not.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm a single guy. So
yeah. Well, I think you're. I see your wedding band.
Yeah. So
even if your wife wasn't in the picture, we see your wedding band.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I just don't get that. Like, because I'm single right now, people think that I've never had a relationship in my life before. That's crazy. That's like, not only that, but that's one of the worst insults you could ever throw at someone. That's like right there with the whole "you live in your parents' basement" shit.
It's like a middle school insult. That's what I call it. Like something you'd hear in middle school. Or high school at the very best. So yeah, no. So anyway, yeah, I got nothing. I mean, we'll have a more fun stream next week. We'll have an even bigger basketball picture. So we'll talk some NCAA basketball. It's getting interesting.
I'll have to start researching it because I haven't really been following too much of college basketball this year.
It's been a very interesting season. Been a very, very interesting season. So yeah, it's only going to get more interesting. This could be the year for a specific team. Maybe they go the whole way. Don't know. But we will save that for the next stream.
Yeah, and Craig, yeah, don't be ashamed of that at all. I mean, look, if you try to find that right woman and it's not right, then
it ain't worth it.
It's not worth it. Don't do it.
Right.
If it's only going to mean trouble, don't do it. Yeah. That's what I live by, and I'm not gonna throw myself into a situation that I'm not gonna be happy just because I'm getting older. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, before I start giving a biography of my personal life, all right.
Gone.
Yes, I think if we spend an hour talking about that, it'd probably draw some people. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's it. That's all we have for you. And yeah, Craig is definitely right. I think people did have plans today, so hopefully it's a bigger crowd next week. So on that note, I am Desean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
God bless, go Irish, and good night, people.
Go Irish.